fertilizing does not have to be difficult. Matter of fact, it's quite easy to do. What I use is Miracle-Gro and a general purpose fertilizer and a palm tree food are the only different things that I use. On all the flowers in pots and vegetables, things like that you might have, what I do is I use Miracle-Gro every 4 to 6 weeks. If you do this every 4 to 6 weeks, you can do it half strength every other week. But the best thing to do is to use this stuff on a regular basis. That's the key. I use it at 1 tablespoon to a gallon of water, and I do it every other week. Every other week I fertilize my flowers and they always look terrific. If you fertilize them when they start to look really bad, and you fertilize them and they start to look really good again, they run out of nutrition before they start to look bad again. Then you realize you need to fertilize them and feed them again. It's kind of an ongoing cycle. If you do it every 2 weeks, the plants never run out of nutrition. They always look terrific and healthy, and they'll always look fantastic, and that's how I do that. I also use Miracle-Gro when I have a plant that's kind of sickly. In the spring, oftentimes you'll see lantanas come up. They don't look really good. They look kind of lethargic. They've gotten frozen. They don't look good at all. And what I like to do is I use a little Miracle-Gro on them, and that will make them look terrific. As a general maintenance, though, because Miracle-Gro only lasts 2 to 3 weeks, what I recommend that you use is an all-purpose fertilizer. You can buy it at Home Depot or Lowe's or Ace Hardware or True Value or anywhere like that. And it's an all-purpose fertilizer. It'll have numbers in it that are like a 16-8-8. There are 3 numbers on a fertilizer, and it'll have numbers very similar to this. Arizona's Best makes an excellent fertilizer, and that I use a lot for all the trees and shrubs. It works really well on citrus trees, lantanas, things like that. Anything in your yard that grows, this works really, really well on. I use it as in the KISS method to keep it simple. I use it in the spring after the danger of frost is over. You never want to fertilize the plants during the cold weather. This is the ones that are frost sensitive. And I use it in the fall. So I'll use it around the end of February, the first part of March, and then I'll fertilize again in the fall, somewhere around September, October, to give the plants a good boost when it starts to cool down and they grow again. Read the directions and do what it says on the bag. It'll say a tablespoon for a new plant, and I use a tablespoon. You don't have to measure it. If it says a half a cup and you can dump a half and it's in your hand and that's pretty close, just you can use that on the trees. Sprinkle it around the plant. The key to fertilizing is water it in. That is the most important thing that I can tell you, is if you don't water the fertilizer in, it's going to burn and it's not going to work because it's going to set right on top of the plant, and that's not a good thing for the plants. The other thing is the palm tree food. There's a ton of palm tree spikes available, and those work really, really well on things like pygmy palms, on queen palms, especially those 2 palm trees, sago palms, any of those kind of tropical sort of palm trees that don't really like it out here. Those fertilizers for the palm tree trees has a lot of magnesium and manganese and zinc and iron and things like that that you don't find a lot of in our general purpose fertilizers. A lot of the desert plants don't need a lot of that nutrition, so these palm tree foods are specialized for palm trees specifically. And if you give them those, sometimes they're little spikes you drive into the ground. What I generally do is put them right by the dripper, so that when you drive that stake into the ground, that dripper will wash that nutrition into the ground, and that's very important to get the nutrition into the ground. Again, water it in when you're finished. Those 2 things are probably the most important things that I can tell you about fertilizing, is not overdo it, because the more they grow, the more fertilizer they need. The more fertilizer you give them, the more they grow, and the more water they need, and the more you got to trim them, the more maintenance and everything else. Do it twice a year, and do the Miracle-Gro every couple of weeks on your flowers, and 1 time on the plants that don't look too good to give them kind of a boost. And make sure that you water it in. Those are the most important things that I can tell you about fertilizing that have helped me out tremendously through the years with fertilizing plants.